The other day, as a simple 2-card reading, I pulled the Star as something to release and the 9 of Swords as something to let in, and I had to enter troubleshooting mode. I find that sometimes this happens in my readings. Cards can contrast each other within a specific spread or prompt. And I want you to know that it's totally normal. Even experienced readers face moments like this, but don't you worry, I've got 7 tips that have helped me navigate these situations, and I believe that they can help you too. Tip number 4 is one of my favorites, and I can't wait to share why. The first tip is to take a deep breath. Sometimes I might not be in a grounded headspace or mindset when pulling cards. I know that it's a big one, but life happens. You can always recenter yourself with a quick meditative exercise. What I like to do is close my eyes, take a few deep breaths, inhale for 4 or 5 seconds, hold for 3, and exhale all the way out till you have nothing left in your lungs. I like to envision roots spreading from the bottom of my feet, or my root chakra, and entering the ground, greeting the mycelium and other plant roots. We merge and become one as friends. I stretch my roots as far as they will go. Sometimes they even reach the earth's core, and I do this for as long as it takes before feeling really centered. I then repeat the question or the questions at hand, stating my intention for seeking the tarot, for pulling it out. And when I'm ready, I open my eyes and I find that I'm able to read the cards a little bit better and with a little bit more clarity. The second tip is to go back to the basics. What are the meanings of the first keywords that come up for you? What are the suits, the elements, and the numerology telling you? These are all good places to start because we know that wands are linked to fire, cups are linked to water, aces are the embodiment and representation of the potential of their suit, and that 4s are about stability in relation to the suit's element. From there, we might be better suited to draw links between the cards instead of only seeing how they repel against one another. Tip number 3 is about going beyond the basics. So once those are at the forefront, now it's time to take an even closer look. Are there any similarities? That might show up in the color story, in symbols, the position of the figures, and other small details of the cards. Once you see a commonality, and it can be the tiniest minute detail, you can begin building a story from there. For example, within the reading that popped up for me, the Star and the 9 of Swords here, they're both in a bent over position. The Star is concentrating on pouring into this little pool of water from their jug here, while this position is covering their eyes and they can't even see what is going on. They're trapped in their mind. So from there, as you can see, I pulled out something pretty similar, the position of their bodies. Yes, and now this one's facing left, this one's facing right. And as you can see, I'm starting to build a story here. I started with a commonality between the two, and I'm building on that. And that can help you talk through just the story alone. Don't even worry about what position they're in, what prompt or question they're under if you're doing a spread or a specific reading. Just build a story between those two, because once you have that story, you'll be able to more easily answer the question then in their specific prompts. Tip number 4, and one of my favorites, is if you're not finding any similarities between the two, or if your brain feels stuck on the fact that it's still not making sense, then reference the guidebook. As someone who is in the middle between beginner and expert tarot reader, it can really be a blow to my ego to have to look at the guidebook. But don't be too proud, because sometimes it takes someone else's words and thoughts and perspectives to help us get unstuck. A hanged man kind of moment, if you will. You might find that something resonates, whether that be a word or a little phrase or what have you. It will stick out and resonate with you, which will help ignite your intuition more. And then you can go from there. This is one of my favorite ways. I try not to get in that ego of, well, I should be experienced enough. I know enough about the tarot that I should know the meanings. But when you are putting the tarot and different cards in context with one another, that takes a lot of time and practice to be able to pull a story and a common thread and bring forward that story together. And it just takes a lot of practice. And what's really helped me is just opening that guidebook and seeing what's really resonating and going from there, because it goes from you borrowing the idea from the author to bringing in your own personal connections and experiences, and then it truly becomes your own reading. Tip number 5 is that you could bring in another deck to help clarify, or you could even use the same deck to bring forward clarifying cards. So let's draw one here. Ooh, okay, so we got the Devil. So remember, this is something to release. This is something to bring in. And we have the Devil here as the bridge between the two. What an interesting story. So sometimes having more cards can help bring clarity. However, I will warn that sometimes adding too many cards can amplify your frustration or your confusion. It can have the opposite effect. So I would really gauge this tip by how you're feeling. Do you feel mentally and emotionally open to bringing forward more cards? Or do you feel like it might overwhelm you? Take stock of where you are in the moment and you know inherently what's best. So for me right now, I'm like, the devil, I'm feeling like I don't quite understand how the devil, in addition to what I need to release and bring in, it's really confusing me even more, because why would I want to bring in these meanings, these entities into my life, right? So right now, mentally, I'm not feeling like I quite understand the clarity of this card, and I could try to pull one more if I really wanted to. And we have the Three of Wands. So maybe to help me, I need a plan of some sort. I need that vision. It can be hard to have the vision when I'm so much in my head and I'm going through a big bout of anxiety and I'm feeling very unsure about myself, and it's hard to even concentrate on anything. So maybe right now is not the best time to be planning things, and I might be really stuck within this devil moment. What am I chained to? I'm chained to something here. And it's not necessarily that I need to bring in more chains, but I need to bring in the key to unlock it. So even there, workshopping that a little bit, like the devil didn't really help me get to this, but the combination of the Three of Wands with the devil and the Nine of Swords really brought that message forward. Tip number 6 is that sometimes when the cards and the prompts don't seem to match up, it could indicate that your question or your prompt wasn't clear enough. When we start with a muddled question or a prompt, we receive a muddled answer. Other times we may not realize that our question or prompt wasn't clear enough, and that's okay. I have some quick tips here on how to ask the right kind of questions to ensure that this doesn't occur. So the first thing is to be specific. Instead of asking broad questions, focus on a particular aspect of your life or situation. Specificity helps the cards narrow down their guidance. So what does this look like? What does it sound like? Instead of asking something too broad, like what's going on in my love life, you can reframe it as, what can I do to strengthen my relationship with, and enter a name, enter yourself, or whichever. That is a little bit more specific. The next thing is to try to ask about one topic at a time. Combining multiple concerns into one question can lead to mixed signals. Another tip is to avoid asking yes and no questions. Open-ended questions encourage a more insightful narrative from the cards rather than a simple affirmation or even a denial. So what does that look and sound like? An example is something you want to avoid. Will I get the job? This really limits the depth of the reading. So to improve upon that, we could ask, what can I do to improve my chances of landing this job? And that will actually give you viable tools and insights to really focus on what you can be doing, like the most that you can be doing to up your chances of getting this job. Another tip is to clarify your intentions. So similar to being specific, before you pull a card, take a moment to reflect on what it is you really want to know. This inner clarity can guide you to form a better question. So what does this look and sound like? A bad example that is very vague and kind of disempowering is, why does this keep happening to me? Also, you're coming with a little bit of a lens of disappointment or anger, and we want to try and be as neutral as possible during our readings. So a way to reframe this instead is, what lesson am I meant to learn from this reoccurring situation? Do you see the shift there? I think that will bring you more clarity in your answers, and you're also setting your mindset up to be in a more positive place. And finally, write down your question. Putting it into words can help you articulate it more clearly and ensure that you ask exactly what you intend to. This is kind of how I workshop my questions, because writing is my form of getting all my muddled thoughts down on paper and then extracting from that and reforming it and just making it even better. So that really helps me personally. The last and final tip here today, number 7, is if you have tried these troubleshooting measures and nothing seems to help, then set your cards down and give yourself space. Tarot is such a great tool, but it's not always an instant process. Sometimes the answers, or even the questions, or even the whole point of a reading or a draw needs to marinate for a while. Sometimes the universe is asking you purposefully to slow down, to allow the meanings and your intuition about them to unfold over time. An extra added tip here to go along with number 7 is, before walking away from your reading, jot down your initial thoughts and feelings. You might be feeling confused. Maybe state why. Why is it confusing? Then set the cards down, pack them up, however you want to deal with that, and go about your life. Maybe you'll receive guidance later that day and you can return to the reading. Maybe it'll take several months for that spread to make sense. Sometimes that is the case, as frustrating as that might be. But photo documenting your readings, especially ones that you are going to be setting down and walking away from in the moment, I recommend this because you can put away the cards, but you still have access to a visual of that reading. You can check in from time to time to see how you're feeling. Other times, it's just not meant for you right here in the now. But just let it go. I know that can be really hard. We put so much effort into sitting down with our cards and pulling out cards for a specific question, but sometimes we're just not meant to have an answer right now. And that is truly perfectly okay. It really reminds us that tarot is a journey of intuition and growth, and even the puzzling moments have a purpose, even if they don't make sense to us in the present moment. If you found value in today's tips, I'd love for you to subscribe for more insights and guidance as we explore the ever-evolving world of tarot together. Thank you so much for watching, and remember to trust your journey, even on the days when the cards seem a little off. And until next time, see you around.